Hey, what's up guys? So today we are going to explore this device. This one is Poco F5 Pro, a flagship killer of 2023. So today we are going to check out this device. First of all, let's go with the physical overview. So it got a gorgeous 12-bit 6.6-inch display. The display here is actually Quad HD display. It supports 120Hz refresh rate. Generally, you will not find a 12-bit display devices, but Xiaomi did provide a 12-bit display on this device, and display is top-notch here. On the front, also we got a front-facing camera which is 16 megapixel. Right-hand side, we got our volume rockers and power button. Left-hand side, nothing. On the top, we got a speaker grill, microphone hole, and air blaster. On the bottom, we got our SIM card slot. It does support dual 5G SIM card, but no SD card slot here. Another microphone and USB Type-C 2.0 and another speaker. On the back, we got a 64 megapixel main sensor with OIS, and there is a ultra-wide sensor 8 megapixel, and there is also another sensor which look like a periscope camera. It's a 2 megapixel micro camera sensor. It's pretty bad. I would prefer a single camera with good sensor like Sony sensor. Here they use actually Samsung sensors, but I don't really need an ultra wide camera. The ultra wide camera is not really good. I will give you a demo about it. And as you can see, there are design of 3 flash. Actually there is only 1 flash, so it got a single flash, and maybe these 2 sensors are actually for ambient light, nothing else. The back glass is actually Gorilla Glass 5 and front glass is also Gorilla Glass 5, and this device does support 30-watt wireless charging, so quite amazing for a flagship killer device. Flagship killer device usually don't get wireless charging. So now let's talk about other specs of this device. So I got 12 gig 512 gig variant. So if you go to setting about device, so as you can see here, detailed specs. So this device got 12 gig of RAM and Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. Although this processor is not really a top-notch processor for 2024, but whatever you throw on it, everything will run buttery smooth. The OS version is 1.0.7.0 Android 14. So this device released with Android 13. It will get Android 15 update definitely, but if you are lucky enough, then you will get Android 16 update. But I'm not really that much curious about it, like Android 15 or 16, because I'm going to install custom ROM on this device. Other things like my variant got 512 GB of storage, and the storage here is actually UFS 3.1, so it's super fast. Rather than that, as you can see here, Xiaomi's HyperOS, and there is new update, and this device getting updated every month, maybe security patch update. In terms of HyperOS, I have already reviewed HyperOS many times. There is nothing much going on. It is pretty much similar to MIUI 14, but with a little improvement with animation and other things. But going with this device, actually it got Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3, and the display is actually really good display. So if you go to display and brightness section, so auto brightness, advanced textures, and as you can see, refresh rate. So I'm using it right now 60 Hz, but you can go up to 120 Hz, and also you can put it in default mode, so it will put it device in 60 Hz or 120 Hz whenever it needs. We have AI image engine, and the display resolution right now it's selected FHD plus, but you can select QHD plus. It will consume a little more battery, but in Full HD plus it's pretty good. So the display quality is actually top notch, whatever you see, viewing angle and whatever. And it also got optical fingerprint scanner, and it's pretty fast, no issue with that. And I did apply a tempered glass here, and the fingerprint scanner working pretty fast actually. And one more thing about this device, face scanner is like blazing fast. It will not stay on the lock screen even for a millisecond maybe. It's super fast. And in terms of display, this is top notch. It's a really good display, and the bezel you can see here, it's pretty much even. You are getting a little more chin area here, but the display is top notch. You are getting basically all the same features of HyperOS, whatever you get with other devices, and like interconnectivity and other things, but everything is pretty good. One more thing I have noticed on this device, if you go to additional setting, and as you can see here, heart rate, so you can measure your heart rate using your fingerprint scanner. So if you tap it, it will measure your heart rate. So as you can see here, right now it is like scanning. I don't really know how does it work, how usable this heart rate sensor right now, but obviously it is there and it does work actually. Right now I moved my finger, so it's gone. And also if you want, you can extend the memory. I don't really like to extend memory. My device got actually plenty of memory. 12 GB is way more than whatever I need. And on top of that, still I can like extend my RAM memory up to 8 GB, total 20 GB. But I don't really do that because it will harm the storage and the lifespan of the device will decrease significantly if I use storage as a RAM. Rather than that, the performance is actually top notch because of that Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor. It is pretty much similar to 8 Gen 1, but 8 Plus Gen 1 is a little better in terms of battery consumption and providing raw power. The battery I have charged in the morning 100%. How much I have used? So as you can see, I have already used 6 hours and 30 minutes, 28 minutes, means 6.5 hours, and still the battery left 18%. So the battery backup is superb. So as I said, I bought this device second hand, so it is well used device. So the battery already significantly reduced. Maybe you can say battery health is 90%. So if the battery health is 100%, maybe I will get about 8 hours of screen on time from this device. And I measured this on 60 Hz, not 120 Hz. If 120 Hz, you can reduce 2 hours more, maybe 6 hours if you use it on 120 Hz mode. So if you charge once, you can use this device whole day without any kind of issue. As you can see here, I did play games here actually for half an hour or more than half an hour, used camera, and mostly actually I used Facebook, as you can see, 3 hours or 3.5 hours. So in terms of battery, it's a great battery actually, great battery backup, and also it does not really heat up that much. Unlike my Galaxy S22, it heats up pretty fast, but this device is pretty good handling heat actually. In terms of applications, it did not come with much actually. There were bloatware. I did able to uninstall most of them, but there are still few which I cannot uninstall, like Google One, and there are few other like Get apps, and still there are ads everywhere actually. I did able to turn off some of them. The camera is pretty good. As you can see here, the camera UI, the main camera is 64 megapixel, and as you can see, everything's out here. There is portrait mode. Portrait mode works only on human subjects, not really on other things. And there are a few more things like exposure, slow motion, time lapse, and other things. You can take 64 megapixel whole picture, and also this device does support high efficient picture format. As you can see here, it significantly reduced the size of the picture, so that's good actually. But some of the device does not support this format of picture, so you have to convert these pictures in if you really want to use on another device which does not support this kind of format. In terms of other things like the cameras and other things, it is pretty much good actually. The main camera is pretty much usable. Other cameras are pretty bad. I will put some picture and video sample so that you can check out. So in terms of camera, these things you are getting, and pretty good actually for the price. And also if you want, you can use Gcam here. So as you can see here, Gcam, main cam is working perfectly fine with Gcam. You don't really need to unlock the bootloader or install any custom ROM to use Gcam here. So it got camera to API support, so Gcam is working perfectly fine.
Hey guys, I'm recording this video with my Poco F5 Pro. So currently I'm shooting at 4K 30 FPS HDR10 plus. So this device can shoot up to 8K 24 FPS and also 1080p 60 FPS, but HDR10 only available until 1080p 30 FPS. The ultra wide camera can shoot up to 1080p 30 FPS, but there is no HDR for ultra wide. And micro camera, it also can shoot up to 720p 30 FPS, and the front camera can shoot up to 1080p 30 FPS in HDR mode and 1080p 60 without any HDR. So as you can see here, the stability and other things, I'm walking right now, not running, and as the main camera got OIS, so the footage is pretty much stable. I'm not seeing any kind of jitter or anything like that in HDR10 mode. I don't really know how the microphone sounds, but I will later check that. So currently, as you can see here, I'm walking, and So 2x, and we can go to 1x, but you cannot switch between the lens when you are recording. So if you want to switch to ultra wide mode, you have to pause the recording and again start the recording in ultra wide mode. So that's a downside, but ultra wide camera is not really that great actually. In terms of photos, it's kind of okay, but for recording videos it's not really that great.
In terms of gaming, so I don't really have a lot of games here. I usually play only Call of Duty, and it is running on max setting without any kind of issue. I did not have any kind of issue playing this game on my device. So if you are thinking about other games, most of the games will play 60 fps without any kind of issue. Let me show you the graphics of this device right now. So if I go to audio and graphics, so it is now very high and max, and if I go to high, I can choose ultra frame rate. So if I choose ultra frame rate, it will go to low, and if I go to high, we can do max, and also very high and also max. So that's all what are you getting with like graphics quality. So you can do 60 fps gaming without any kind of issue on this device. You can throw any games here, it will runs buttery smooth. Content consumption also, it got Dolby Atmos support, to HDR10 display. So the HyperOS is actually doing pretty well. I haven't faced any kind of issue with the OS. It's pretty smooth, pretty fast. There is no issue with that. And as I'm using 60 Hz actually, as you can see, it's plenty good actually with 60 Hz even. No issue with that. Pretty fast device, and the brightness of the display is also pretty high. It go up to 1000 nits, and maybe peak brightness is 2000. I don't really remember. And for the price I paid about $230 for this variant. Still, it got 6 months of warranty left, so I'm not really worried about anything happening to this device. It's a pretty good device actually, and still if you get one of these, I think it's better to go with this device, buying Redmi devices which they are selling with 7 Gen 2 and other devices which are pretty much expensive actually. If you buy new one, you have to pay about $250 to $300, but instead you can go with this device for a bit less price. Second hand, if you check properly, you can get good deal on this kind of device, and I think this device makes much more sense than other devices. If you buy with 7 Gen 2 or anything like that, this device will provide you much more value out of your money. So brilliant device, and still I'm using 3 months now actually, and I haven't faced any kind of issue. The speakers are pretty good. We got IR blasters. It's a pretty good device and works flawlessly. So that's all about Poco F5 Pro. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.